Hi everybody, my name is Peter. Welcome back to Our Worship Sound, and this is part 2 of the left-hand piano technique video. And in this one I want to cover some somewhat random items, including how to easily find the fifth in order to fill out your left hand, and what notes to play during slash chords, and also how to use the left hand with the right hand to create some interesting rhythm effects. So in the first video I talked about the pinky bass technique, where I basically use my pinky for every bass note and every chord. And that puts my hand in position to add the fifth and the octave. So for example, on a C chord, I'd play the pinky with on the C, the fifth with my index finger and my thumb covering the octave above. And we can use this for some different things. Now, finding the octave should be pretty easy. If you can find the root of the chord, you should be able to find the octave. It's just the same note. If you're having trouble with your left hand finding that fifth automatically, here's one thing that might help a little bit. And that is, if you're starting, if your root note is on a white key, the fifth is also going to be on a white key. If your root is on a black key, your fifth is also going to be in a black key, and that works for every single chord except for two of them, and those are B flat and B natural. Okay, so with B flat you're going to have your root on a black key, your fifth on a white key, and vice versa for the B. Okay, and this is going to work for major chords and minor chords. If you're doing augmented or diminished chords, you're going to have to figure out something else to play in the left hand. But it works. It'll help you get your hand in the right position to play the fifth and add that to your left hand technique. Okay. So one more thing about which notes to play, and that has to pertain to slash chords. So for example, if you had C/E in your chart, that would indicate that you're going to play a C in the right hand and an E in the bass. Okay, in this case, you do not want to add a fifth above what you're playing in the left hand, because that B is going to be something that's outside of the C major triad. So what we want to do instead is choose a different note other than E from the right hand, and we're left in this case with C and G. We're going to add one of these two to the left hand, whichever one we like better. We're going to try them both. Okay, so if I add the G down here, that's what that sounds like. And if I put the C in instead, I get this. Now you'll notice that when I played the fifth, the notes were pretty well spread apart, which left for a nice open clear voicing in the left hand. If I'm going to add one of these two in the slash chord, it's going to create an interval that's a lot closer together, either toward the bottom of the left hand or the top of the left hand. Being that our ears have more trouble the lower we go distinguishing between notes, I think it makes more sense, and it sounds better to my ear, to put that closer interval up at the top of our left hand placement. So I'm going to do that, and that C ends up being the root of the chord. Okay, so we've got our bass note, but then we're going to add the root of the chord in our left hand, and this is going to work. This shape is going to work for about 80 to 90% of our slash chords that we could play. Now let's move on to some rhythmic concepts using that root, fifth, and octave. Let me find my place in my script. Okay, so let me give you a few examples of different things we can do to create rhythmic possibilities working with the left hand and right hand together. The most common approach is going to be to fill in some of the gaps with the left hand. For example, if I'm playing just quarter notes with my right hand, I could play just some of the ands with my left hand. So something like, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So that's a really simple way of looking at it, just filling in some of the gaps with in between what the right hand is playing. Another thing that I find myself doing is playing a note playing a note in the left hand right before I play something in the right hand. Maybe a 16th note before. So if I'm playing a more sparse rhythm with my right hand, like a... just kind of anticipating it a little bit. What I'm doing there is I'm actually anticipating the note with the new left hand chord. So if I'm going from G to D, I'm playing the fifth of the D chord, and then that was the fifth of an E minor chord, and then going to C. So just a little anticipation, creating that rhythm effect. Okay, so one more general approach I can show you is kind of a drum-like effect. It's a very rhythmic sort of comping approach to it. And this is just going to keep a rhythm going, and I'm going to play different accents in different hands and different notes, creating those accents. This is more common in more of a funk style of music. You might be playing on an instrument more like a Hammond organ or a clavinet sound. But if you think about playing a syncopated drum rhythm like something like that, and doing that on the piano, not just playing the same notes all the time, but maybe mixing in some different notes, but that rhythm going back and forth between the left and the right hand. We'll try to get this going here. This one goes out to my son, Gabe, who's 4 years old. This is his favorite song, so he's like the coolest kid ever for liking this song, but I'll see if I can do this. So what I'm doing is just basically keeping that rhythm going all the time between something in my right hand and something in my left hand. So if I slow that down and kind of simplify it, it'll go like. So it's just kind of going back and forth, but keeping that rhythm going all the time. And bringing it back to the left hand, which is what we're talking about. I'm just using the root fifth and octave again on that. And just alternating between those notes and mixing those in there. So using the left hand is really cool for creating those rhythm concepts. So I hope that was helpful. And I'm still going to be coming with the video on key bass, so using some slightly different techniques for that if you're having to cover the bass part in the absence of a bass guitar player. So that's coming up soon. Be sure to sign up for the email list through the website OurWorshipSound.com. We're going to be in touch about some different things coming up soon. So thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.